You're about to watch an interview about my musical, Pray the Gay Away, which explores the painful world of gay conversion therapy. The full musical is available to watch here on my YouTube channel. Hello, my name is Conrad Askland, a music director and music producer with over 1.5 billion streams.
Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives. It is I, the mayor, Flobo Boyce, in the mayor's office, hanging with those who are creating very provocative things. And well, my guest today is taking provocative things to the next level. We're talking about Pray the Gay Away, a musical upcoming a couple days in advance as we record this. Please welcome its creator, Conrad Askland. That title, Pray the Gay Away, that was intentional and it's forceful. Talk to me about that.
It's a musical. It's Pray the Gay Away, the musical. And I got to tell you, when I chose that name, I had people begging with me. My best friend begging with me, do not use that title. Do not use that title. I thought it was very important because it gets people's attention. And for people that have experience with what they call the Pray the Gay Away movement, you know, gay conversion therapy, reparative therapy, whatever you want to call it, it gets a very emotional response. So I actually trademarked the phrase. I own the trademark.
Whoa.
I own the trademark to, believe it or not, to Pray the Gay Away.
Okay, so take a step back. What exactly is conversion therapy to the uninitiated? Because I've heard some things, some rumors, some kind of things are kind of harrowing. What's the take on it?
Gay conversion therapy largely comes from faith-based communities, religious communities. The idea is that homosexuality is an abomination. So if someone's gay, it needs to be fixed. So the idea of this therapy is that you fix someone from being homosexual to heterosexual so they can live according to God's word. That's it in a nutshell. 100 years ago, this therapy included, lobotomies, really, really drastic, horrible things. Then in the 1980s, they came up with a new therapy because gay conversion therapy was bad. So they came up with one based on love called reparative therapy. So my musical kind of deals with that, the rolling out of this new compassionate therapy. And I say that in quotation marks, compassionate, reparative therapy. Well, so today in 2025, reparative therapy got a bad name. So then they called it, I don't know, gender affirmation, all sorts of different, they keep changing the name. Basically, it's therapy to fix a gay person is the concept of it.
Sure. And then you decided to approach this concept via musical, which is on the surface an interesting choice. But talk to me how your craft and love of the art form actually dovetailed with the subject matter.
I was working out of New York on a show, and after one of the shows, one of the cast members had mentioned to another cast member, I overheard it, that he had been put through gay conversion therapy when he was a teenager and that he tried to commit suicide. I think I had heard of gay conversion therapy, but I didn't really know what it was. So I asked him, what is this? He told me about it. I went right away and ordered some books on the subject, but I didn't order books against gay conversion therapy. I ordered books supporting it because I wanted to wrap my head around how could someone justify this? As I'm reading this book and reading the therapy, some of it is very funny. Like one of the suggestions is, do not let your child do musical theater because that will lead him toward homosexuality. But I came to the part where they do electroshock therapy. The therapy is progressive. It starts with maybe rubber bands on a wrist, pounding nails into a piece of wood. When I got to the electroshock, I was just almost in tears. My thought was the faith community has to see this. The faith community has to see the shock therapy and its effects. And I was convinced that I might not change minds, but the next time the subject of gay conversion therapy came up in their church, they'd at least have to pause after what they saw. If I did a show that was called, shock conversion therapy, no one's going to come see it. So the general concept was to create a musical theater show that people would want to see, entertain them, which I know sounds strange given the subject matter, but then as you get into the journey, let them see the shock therapy.
Knowing what you know, but still having the desire to entertain as well. What is the idea of trying to find the right tone with something that could be something so serious with the trappings of a musical?
I wanted to reach a mainstream audience. There are other shows about related issues within the LGBTQ community, but they're very serious. So the people that go, it's kind of like preaching to the choir. It's already people that understand this. I wanted to create something that would reach a mainstream audience who doesn't know about these things. But the humor, it's very delicate, because how can you have humor on a subject like this? Several things I did to help with that. I said it in the past so people could have a little distance, even though the issues are, especially with the current political climate, are very relevant today. I said it in 1982. I said it in Minnetonka, Minnesota. So there's a lot of Minnesota humor, Scandinavian humor, to help lighten it a little bit for people. We did a lot of workshops with the humor. I worked a lot with PFLAG. It's the Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. As far as, how did the humor hit? I also worked with a lot of church groups. You take a chance, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm finishing editing the video, getting it ready, and I watched it all the way through last night. And there are parts of it that are just brutal. I was in tears, and I mean, I wrote it, but I hadn't watched it for a while. There's stuff that's funny, and it doesn't seem like it should be. And then there are moments that are just absolutely brutal.
We know that there's many, many years in the making for Pray the Gay Away, but let's talk about the actual first draft, the division of labor, the music, the lyrics. How did it come together? What kind of sounds you were thinking about in your mind when you're crafting the story? Walk me through that.
I ascribe to a lot of Stephen Sondheim rules.
Okay.
And one is that what you want to say dictates what the music does, not the other way around. So I wrote the book, music and lyrics, and did the orchestration. So I created the whole thing. Originally, I was thinking, well, maybe there should be some 1980s style music. Probably not hair metal, but maybe new wave, kind of music. It didn't really work because it put me in a box for, what I wanted to say. Because of the subject matter, the subtext can change on a dime. Someone can be singing about something that sounds like it's very beautiful, saying lyrics that are ugly, but the music is beautiful. You get this real pull with the audience, like something's not quite right here. So musically, it is very much modern musical theater. And there's some songs that would even be considered maybe a little golden age. It's straight ahead musical theater. It changes keys a lot. We had a 9-piece pit orchestra that I orchestrated for, and a wide variety of music. Some of it is poetic, and some of it is very jarring. And of course, there's show tunes in the musical.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that real quick, because I am pretty much a casual fan. I did musical theater when I was in high school. I did it for a girl. I know. Always bad decisions. But I was on stage, man. I was going left and right, upstage, downstage. How's that the genre evolved? I mean, I'm kind of spoiled, right? I grew up in New York City, and Broadway was across the river in Manhattan. So we go on school field trip and see matinees. But the whole intricacies of the whole art form has evolved in my short time on this planet.
One thing that's changed in the last 20, 25 years is that you can tackle very serious subjects. One of the first to do that was actually out of Everett, Seattle area, Next to Normal. That musical, I think, came out around 2005, and dealt with mental psychology issues. So musical theater has opened up where you can really talk about anything. Audiences are open to that. It wasn't that way 40 years ago. That's one major change.
I totally understand that. It always feels like it's a moving, evolving art form. And I wish I was younger. I was a bit more open to it. I was like, Broadway again? I didn't know how good I had it. So take me back to 2019, when Pray the Gateway was completed and ready to be shown, but one thing led to another, and that wasn't the case?
This was a community theater production. Did it with a community theater group. And before it opened, we had a large cast, a cast of about 32, I think. When people heard that there was a show coming called Pray the Gay Away, I mean, the local public kind of freaked out. They wanted to know what was going on. Some people, there were conspiracy theories. I actually heard that people thought this was a far-right religious group that was pretending to do a musical, but once they got the audience in, they would lock the doors. I heard crazy things, because you don't know how people are going to react to a new musical until opening night, until it's in front of a paying public audience. The audience fully embraced it. The end of the show was just full of tears. As you can imagine, there were a lot of people that saw the show who had gone through gay conversion therapy. After the first show, there was this line of people. I mean, like 60 people, all waiting to come and shake my hand and tell them how important they thought this project was. Some people were just in tears, couldn't talk, and just gave me a hug. And I remember that opening night, I didn't believe it. Mm-hmm. I thought, well, maybe that was friends and family. And it wasn't actually till the second weekend. It was the second weekend Saturday show. I think it was the fifth or sixth show, where I was like, oh, people really do get what I'm doing here. Because I really took a chance tackling the subject matter. And the way I do it, there's no nudity or sex in the show, but it covers things that are very horrific beliefs, horrific ways people talk to each other, horrific things that people go through with this gay conversion therapy. And we present a lot of that, including people's political beliefs that support this within the show.
But why do you think that is? It just seems like we all want the same things on the surface. We want safe communities. We want to be able to go to school. We want to be able to not fear for our lives. But it always seems that something always puts us at odds, whether as cities or countries or communities. What's the deal?
So I learned a lot doing this show. And I learned a lot about the arguments and the beliefs of people that support the gay conversion therapy. One of the main things, you probably heard this before, love the sinner, hate the sin. So a lot of people from the faith community, when they are encouraging people to go through gay conversion therapy, and by the way, most of the patients in gay conversion therapy were brought there or encouraged to go there through churches, through the faith community. The concept is that if you are homosexual, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So if you are changing someone to live according to God's word, you are showing them the ultimate love because you are saving them from hell. And this is a very entrenched belief. So the people that are supporting the gay conversion therapy really feel that they are showing true love. And this was a really difficult concept to explain to the cast and to have them understand, because so the show shows two boys going through gay conversion therapy, and a lot of it happens within a congregation of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, who in the early 80s supported this kind of therapy and still does today. So we have a group of people that were playing the church members. And when they first started playing it, they were doing parodies. And we had to work with them a lot to say, you don't understand. Theatrically, you are the good guys. Like, you have to present yourself that you are the good guys. You're not the bad guys. And I think that's part of the texture of the musical that is so powerful and disturbing, is that a lot of what I present from the faith community, I don't present it as a parody. I present it as it actually is. These people really feeling like what they're doing is with love.
Yeah. Take me to March 23rd of this year, 2025, 6 years after the community theater. What's going on for the project and where it's going to be?
Well, so when it opened, there was all this forward movement. People excited about bringing this show to Seattle, LA, New York. And then the pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. And all that forward motion just died.
You know, we have a lot of guests on the show that have told a similar story of having a product or a brand or a fashion line or what have you that got absolutely just eviscerated by the pandemic. So I got to ask, what motivated you to keep going? Because that could have been like we had a play and it died. Next up, we're doing this. But what made you say, no, we're going to go back. There's still some value in getting this out here.
What started me to write this was political times were starting to change in 2015, 2016. There was a lot of rollback of, rights for people in the LGBTQ community. I thought I was going to be too late with this musical, that by the time I had it ready, gay conversion therapy wouldn't be a thing. I was not too late in 2019. And frankly, one of the reasons I'm releasing it now, the current political climate, I would love it if no one wanted to perform Pray the Gay Away for the reason that it's just not necessary. Because gay conversion therapy, LGBTQ rights is not an issue anymore.
What a fantastical journey, 6 years in the making from community theater to now. As we run this down here on Knew Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives, any final moments or messages you want to share with the audience?
I'm going to cry. I just wish in the United States right now that we were a little more unified. That's all I have to say. We're not that different. We are a good people.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. This is Knew Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Askland. I appreciate you having some moments speaking about the creative process and what it means for you for this play to see a whole new audience.
Yeah, time to take a ride. Let's see what happens.